Hello and welcome back to another episode of Kintertainment. So my show is back on, Reasonable Doubt, and we're gonna get into it. So what these next couple of episodes are gonna look like are gonna be me recapping the episode that just recently dropped. So Reasonable Doubt comes on Hulu every Thursday. There's no specific time. I don't know if it comes on at like 12 a.m. or 2 a.m. But you don't have to wait till the evening. It just comes out on Thursday. And so sometime before the next Thursday, I will upload an episode so we can recap what happened. We can sit and discuss, have a little chat. Because Reasonable Doubt is so good. And if you haven't tuned into it yet, you need to. So let's just jump right into it. Season 1. I have never seen the girl who played Jax before in anything, but she was in one of Ava DuVernay's first films, I think. Her name is Imiatsi. I hope I'm not pronouncing that wrong, but I wrote it down. Imiatsi Corinialdi. I hope I'm saying that correctly. If not, I'm so sorry, girl, but you are doing your big one as Jax. And yeah, I love this show. Let me see some more heavy hitters from season. Well, she's the main character. Her husband is played by McKinley Freeman. I first saw him in I just forgot the name of that show. It was a show that I want to say Teyana Taylor was in it. Teyana Taylor, she might have been in it, but it's not Bring It On, but it's one of those dancing shows. And I just forgot the name of it. I'm not even finna stress myself out. Michael Ealy was in season 1 with his fine self. He was playing Damon. And then another famous person was Sean Patrick Thomas. He played Brayden. You may know Sean Patrick Thomas from the Barbershop franchise or Save the Last Dance. He played Brayden. So season 1, just to go ahead and give you a little summary, it was about Jax. She's separated from her husband. She's this top-notch lawyer. She's a partner at her firm. She takes on this criminal case of Brayden, who he's accused of killing his secretary or something like that. Well, at first he was accused of raping her, and he wanted her to sign this NDA. And then she popped up dead, so he was accused of murdering her. And that the whole season kind of focuses on his trial, but also Damon, Michael Ealy, is one of Jax's old clients, and they also had a little thing a long time ago when she was a public defender. He was one of her clients, and they kind of had a little romantic thing going on, and he gets out of prison, and they kind of sparked that back up. But yeah, Brayden ends up getting off for the murder, and Damon ends up kidnapping Jax and killing himself. So that's how season 1 went. Season 2, we're back with Jax. She's trying to get over that trauma of the kidnapping. And one of her best friends has a domestic violence situation going on, and she actually killed her husband. And so Jax wants to be there for her friend, but she can't fully be there because she still is processing all of her trauma. So she signs on as second chair. And Corey Cash, played by Morris Chestnut. Morris Chestnut was one of the stars of season 2. He's first chair. And so that season is basically about trying to figure out if the best friend really killed her husband. She ends up being guilty for manslaughter, but she doesn't have to serve any more jail time. The judge, said that she could just be on probation or whatever. And Corey and Jax kind of had this moment where they were about to be romantic with each other, but it didn't really get there. And then Jax's husband, so they're in couples counseling during this season. And in this season, he ends up finding out that he has a side baby on the way. Well, not really a side baby, because when they were separated, he ended up having relations with somebody that Jax is kind of close with. It's like a close acquaintance. And he finds out that he's that lady's baby's daddy. And then the baby died. And then at the end, we find out that the baby mama is suing Jax and her husband for the death of her child. So that brings us to season 3. What we've been waiting for this since last year. Season 3, they're bringing in Joseph Sikora from the Power franchise. Tommy is in this season. Also let me say, some more guest stars from season 2 are Candy Burris. Well, she wasn't really a guest star, but she made an appearance in season 2. She played Ebony Phillips, and then Essence Atkins played what was her name? Her name was Brandy, and she played this lady who was like a domestic violence like spokesperson, I guess. But she showed up in court one day and testified. And her and Corey at the end of the season had something like romantic going on. So there's that. I don't know how much we're going to see of her in season 3. But they do mention her in season 3. So let's go ahead and get to season 3. I got my notes ready. So, so Jax, and season 3 starts off with Jax and her husband being in, do they call it a deposition? I don't know if they call it a deposition, but her and her husband are talking to the baby mama because she's suing them for the death of her child. And Jax is not the lawyer on the case, but she's acting like she is, and she's pissing the lawyer off. And but the first thing to piss me off was, so there's this scene where her and her husband are, getting it on, and they're playing The Way by Jill Scott, which is a wonderful song to play during this time. But then they remix it with the sample by Saweetie, and I'm just like, y'all did not have to do that. We did not have to hear Saweetie. Like, I feel like the people that watch this show are like my age and up. And there may be some younger people who watch the show, but we don't need to hear Saweetie in the TV shows. We can hear 1 or 2 songs at the club. We don't need to hear her in the TV shows. But I see what they did there, and I guess it's cool. But this show does very good with their music choices. And one thing that I just noticed is that all of the episode titles, stemming all the way back from season 1, they're all Jay-Z songs. They're all the titles of Jay-Z songs. So that's just telling me that this show could go on forever and ever, because Jay-Z has over 300 songs. So keep on cranking it out, because we never gonna run out of episode titles. Like I said, the music is good. It's very up to date, and so are the lines. Like, there's this part where this guy, who we can tell that this season is gonna be focused on him in the show. His name is Ozzy Edwards. I don't know his real name, but his name is Ozzy Edwards, and Jax is talking to him. And he first came to her. Well, his team came to her because they wanted him to sign an NDA. They wanted his girlfriend to sign an NDA, but he wasn't really feeling the girlfriend signing an NDA. And, he wasn't feeling the girlfriend signing the NDA. And, so Jax, left the conversation, but she ended up seeing him again. And he was kind of trying to act like he didn't know her. So when they kind of met up in private, she was like, she brought that up, and then they were having a conversation. And she was trying to get to the bottom of, like, why he didn't want the NDA to be signed. And now, mind you, his girlfriend is white. And she was just saying, like, relationships mean everything. And I think your team doesn't want you to have a white girlfriend because they know that it will upset your fans. and so on and so forth. And she was saying stuff like relationships are important, like they can help you win Super Bowls and everything like that. And she was, I feel like she was referring to Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Like, they really keep up with what's going on in the now. I mean, even though the Chiefs won that Super Bowl a year ago, but still, like, it's current. It's up to that. And then, so there's this part where Tony is walking into this. Oh, well, no. So this guy, Jax and her husband are out on a date, and this guy walks up to her and is like, "Oh, you're Jax Stewart. Like, I'm a lawyer too." And then Tony walks up because he's actually with her, and they get into it, and Jax read her for filth. That's one thing about Jax. She got a mouth on her, and she's going to tell you how she feels. She doesn't care. And that's kind of how the season started, when she was in I keep saying deposition, but I could be wrong. When she was in the deposition with Tony and her lawyer, like, she was taking over, because that's that lawyer in her, that's that dog in her. And I'm just trying to make sure that is actually a deposition. Okay, it's not. I don't think it's called a deposition, but whatever. Yeah, that's not a deposition. But whatever they was doing in the little room discussing the case, that's what that was. Anyways, so going back to Joseph Sikora. Joseph Sikora was great as Tommy in Ghost, but I feel like that's all I can see him as now, because that's literally everything that I've seen him in. Like, even the Power spinoffs, he's Tommy. So now that I'm seeing him in this, I can't help but to see Tommy. And, like, I mean, I feel like he's kind of doing a good job, but when I look at him, I see Tommy. But I feel like this is a different character, because, like, in this show, he's not a partner at the firm, but he wants to be. And so he's really trying to make partner. And one of the beginning parts of the episode was them discussing with the partners at the firm, discussing him becoming partner. And then he meets up with Jax, and he tells her, like, I want to be partner, and this is why I invited you to lunch. And they had a good conversation. But he is playing his role very well. Like, I feel like he's going to, like, I think the firm is kind of going to turn on Jax, because the other partners, they were like backing him up to become partner, but Jax was kind of like on the back end, like, I think he just needs a little more experience. And, like, I just think that it's going to turn into a white boys club, and they're going to turn on Jax. Because also, Joseph Sikora, which his name is Bill in the show, so I'm going to just start saying Bill, he, like, I don't know, like, he doesn't seem very genuine to me. And he looks creepy. Like, he keep making these creepy looks. And I don't know. I just don't trust him yet. I don't trust him, and I don't know what's going to happen. But hopefully he stands by my girl. He sticks with my girl, because Jax actually asked him to be co-counsel on Ozzy Edwards' case. So now let's get back to Ozzy. So Ozzy, you know, I talked about him, his team wanted the girlfriend to sign an NDA. The girlfriend is white. So he is in this position where, like, he was a child actor, and now he's growing up, and his family, and I think everyone around him kind of treats him like a child, and he's trying to be a man. And I feel like his girlfriend, in a way, was kind of like his white savior. Because, like, I feel like she was the only one who really treated him like a man. But we end up having this issue. I don't know. He goes back and talks to his mom, and he basically fired his parents as his managers. And his mom was just like, okay, go be with that white girl, in so many words. And she told him something, but we didn't hear what she told him. And then it just cuts to a scene with him and his white girlfriend. Okay, so we cut to the scene where Ozzy and his girlfriend's name is Wendy, were in front of his house, and they were arguing because whatever the mama told him is something that was a secret that we don't know about. And he's confronting her, and they get to arguing, and he goes, he was like, I left my entire family for you. And he was like, I'm Ozzy Edwards. And like, he was cussing. And at that moment, I was like, he's gonna kill her and is giving OJ. Because his real name is like Orasol or something. And I was like, that sounds like OJ's real name. And given that the girlfriend is white, I just knew they was gonna make this like OJ Simpson, and that they did. So after that, it just goes to it goes to the police station, and guess who's at the police station? Cash Doll. So Cash Doll is backing her acting bag. I don't know what her name is in the show, to be honest. I forgot. But Cash Doll is backing her acting bag, and she reported Wendy missing. So when I saw that, I was like, I knew he was gonna kill her. And then like at the end of this episode, like they show him with these they show him with these scratch marks, and then he just looks in the mirror and screams. And that scream, I don't know, I wasn't feeling that scream. Like it didn't give like it was supposed to give. Like it didn't give like anger like it was supposed to. It gave, I don't know, it was a weird scream. But yeah, so he done killed his girlfriend, and he's gonna have to ask Jax to help him. This week's release was actually a 2-episode release. So there's 2 different episodes, and I'm like kind of talking about them both like mashed together. But anyways, now that we're talking about Cash Doll, let's get into Cash Doll. So she is Wendy's best friend. And she reported her missing, and then there's this part where like she's in front of, like she's doing her and Wendy's sister are doing a press conference asking people to please help them find Wendy and to look for her. And she talking down on Ozzy, which I get it, that's your friend. She's actually her assistant. But I just hate how like Cash Doll had to have this role. I feel like they should have gave this role to somebody white, because I just hate how she's caping for this woman. Like it's all like, I just feel like it's always the black woman's job to come forth and deal with everybody's issues, and for her to have this white woman's issues on her back like this, I'm not feeling it. But that's just what it is. And yeah, and everybody is just like caping for this girl, but we don't know what really happened to her. Although she like, I know she's, well, it comes out that they do find her body at the end of this episode, and yeah, so she's dead, like I knew she was going to be. But I guess I just hate how we always hang the black man first. But in this case, I really do think it's his fault. So yeah, because he was giving OJ, just like I really think OJ killed his wife, I really think Ozzy did this. There's also, so like later on in the 2nd episode, he calls Jax, when he found out, so he had to go to the police station to because the police wanted to ask him questions, but he went there without a lawyer. That's where he messed up. And then he ended up calling Jax because he knew he was gonna need a lawyer, and she was over there like, trying to get him to think about like all that could happen after this day. And he just gets angry, and he ends up firing Jax, and Jax was like, no, I quit. And so Bill, I was gonna say his real name, but Bill, after he was like trying to be like, oh no, Jax, I don't think you should quit, but she quit because she's a boss, and Bill just likes to kiss up. And Jax was telling Bill like, oh, he's gonna need me, he's gonna call me back. But when Bill went to work the next day, the partners were talking about the case, and Bill snitched and told them, oh, we're not on the case anymore. We were fired. And he was like, Jax didn't want to tell you because she knows, like, she's very confident that he's gonna call back. He's very confident that she's gonna call back. And he was like, and I wasn't going to tell you either, but I just feel like I need to bring it up. And I just feel like he's doing anything to become partner. And while we're talking about Bill right now, let's just go ahead and go back to the first episode. He invited Jax out to lunch. And, I mentioned that he invited her out to lunch, but they were talking, and he was showing her pictures of his family. And he is married. In this show, he's married to a black lady, and they have 3 children. And I was just like, that's very on brand for him, because, in Power, he was with Lakeisha. And it made me wonder, like, does he like black women in real life, or like, is he married to a black woman in real life? But he's actually not. He's married to someone who is of his race, and that's just surprising. Well, I mean, it's not surprising because actors don't normally portray their real life, but you just think like that this man is like this because you've seen him on a certain show for so long. But yeah, that's what I want to say about that. But back to Ozzy. So he fired Jax. Jax was like, he gonna need me, and he of course needed her. And he showed up to her house with Corey, and he was basically like, I need you to be my lawyer. And he was like freaking out, and she was like, you can just it was late at night, and she was like, you can spend the night here, we'll work something out in the morning. And she was like, Corey, you stay here too, because I'm not crazy, I'm not leaving this murderer in my house, which is me and my daughter. And so they get a call like early the next morning that they found Wendy's body, and that the gun that was used to kill Wendy is registered to Ozzy, and that where she was found is by one of Ozzy's vacation homes. So Ozzy wakes up, she tells him all of this, and he's just like devastated. And she tells him like, she tells him like, they're going to arrest you, so be prepared for that. And she's just like prepping him for what's going to happen. And she tells him he could go and take a shower and like calm down if he wanted to. And when he went to the bathroom, I really thought that he was like gonna try to run. Like, I thought it was gonna be a window in the bathroom that he was gonna try to jump out of, but he didn't. So I'm very surprised, because that would have been, because like since they're like modeling this after OJ's case, when OJ ran in the white Bronco, like I thought he was gonna jump out the window, but then I don't know how he was gonna find a car that fast. But while he's in the bathroom, he called somebody named Alex, and I forgot what he said, but basically like he was like, Alex, they found Wendy's body, and he was like, we need to do something or something like that. And I'm trying to figure out who was Alex, but I now have a theory. So also, the lady from P-Valley, Mercedes from P-Valley, is in this show. And she is on Ozzy's team. I think she's his lawyer, but she's not, like, I don't know. I don't know why they ended up calling Jax, because I want to say she's a lawyer, but I don't really know her role. I don't remember. And I don't remember her real name. But Mercedes from P-Valley is a part of Ozzy's team. And at the end of episode 2, they showed like a preview of all of the previous episodes, or not all of the previous episodes, but all of the future episodes. And Ozzy is having sex with this woman with curly hair, and Mercedes from P-Valley has curly hair. So I think that she did something to Wendy, and that's who he called, if that's Alex, because he did say Alex, and I don't remember her name on the show. But so if she is not Alex, then I think, actually, we can just look it up right now. Oh, so she is not Alex, she is Monica, so never mind. So also, a person who is going to be on this show this season, but they have not showed him yet, is Cordell from Love Island season 6. So he may be Alex. So yeah, but my theory is that Ozzy is still messing around with Monica, because he was having sex with somebody in the preview that had curly hair, and I'm thinking it's her. So, yeah, we'll just have to see what happens with that. Now, while all of this is going on, remember I told you that Jackson, her husband, was being sued by her husband's former baby mother. Now, she had this, like, she wanted all this money from them, and she wanted them to admit to being the cause of her baby's death, but they didn't want to pay her out, and they didn't want to admit that because they don't think that that's reasonable, and they don't think they really didn't, and they didn't kill her baby, and like, yeah, they didn't kill her baby. So she comes up with this plan. Like, he was like, well, maybe I should just reach out to her and talk to her, and she told him that they need to spend one night together, and she would have the case dismissed. So Jax and him agreed to it, which I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could allow my husband to do that. But I'm not married, so. But I feel like a lot of married women wouldn't. But hey, anyways, so he does that, and while he's there, like, she shows him the baby's nursery. And it was a cute nursery, and the baby's name was Jaden, and it's like on the wall. It's a very cute nursery. But she decorated it to be like a gamer's room, and Lewis is a game developer. And like, I just feel like she got too attached to Lewis. Like, I know he's your child's father, but I think before, like, she saw him as like this really good guy, and like when him and Jax were going through it, people could say that Jax was kind of the bad guy, because the reason why they even separated in the first place is because Lewis gave her an ultimatum to like chill out from her job a little bit, but she didn't want to do that, and they ended up separating because of it. And Lewis was a good guy. Like, he was still, like, he made sure she had security, and she ended up messing around with the security guy. You know, he made sure to take care of the kids. And there was a point in the show where he mentioned, like, while she was being a boss in a courtroom, like, he was taking care of the kids. So I think Tony, which is his baby mother, just thought, you know, oh, he's a really good guy. And I think maybe she thought that he would leave Jax for her. And maybe she thought that they would have this happily ever after, because she modeled the baby's nursery like after his life. And well, she did tell him at first, because at first Lewis didn't know if the baby was his or not, because she was also messing around with their other friend's husband. She was like, you don't, like, we don't need to do a paternity test, because the other friend's husband, so the lady that was on trial for killing her husband, that is the person that Tony was sleeping with, the husband. And she was like, we could just pin the baby on him, like, I think it's his baby, and you don't have nothing to worry about. But he was like, I can't live daily knowing that this baby might be mine. So they went and had a paternity test, and she was like, if you don't want to be in this, you don't have to be. Like, I would raise this baby on my own. And he was like, I'm not a deadbeat. Like, I'm going to take care of my child. So he agreed to be an active parent, but I just think she got too attached to him, because he agreed to be an active co-parent. He didn't agree to be your husband. And she just, like, I mean, they had an affair, and she just held on too strong. And, like, she was just, like, I mean, their child died. So then she just has all of this trauma dealing with her child dying. But then also her baby daddy is living his best life with his wife. And I think she just never let go of him. And, like, I think she was going to try to use the baby for them to be together. And, like, it was just too emotional for her. Like, I just feel like if I had a baby father and we weren't together, like, I wouldn't be modeling my whole baby's room after the father. Like, I mean, like, because, like, he might not grow up to be like his daddy. And at the end of the day, I don't know. Like, I know that Lewis was going to be a good father to that baby had the baby lived. But I think she wanted more from Lewis, and she expected a lot from him. But yeah, he spent the night with her, and she was showing her all these things. She even had him a little, because Lewis is from Philadelphia. She had him a little Eagles jersey with Jalen Hurts' name on it, a little baby Eagles jersey. And shout out to Jalen Hurts because he's from Houston and he's from my side of town. So shout out to him. But anyways, he spent the night, he was trying to be there for her because he knew, he kind of knew that she still had feelings for him, and he knew that she just kind of needed somebody to talk to. But she did try to, be romantic with him, but he shut that down. But he did go over there and help her, take the nursery down. He still is a good guy, and he was really trying to be there for her because he knew that's, deep down what she really needed. And he was able to get some closure from that situation as well. He was able to deal with his grief of his baby. And yeah, it was weird to see it play out, but I'm just glad that he didn't cheat on his wife and that they were able to get that solved. And yeah, now back to Corey. Oh, well, before we go back to Corey, I had wrote down that Tony just needed to know that Lewis was hurt too, because I feel like she was carrying all that hurt by herself. All right, so now let's go back to Corey and Jack. So Corey had spent the night at Jack's house, but they didn't mess around, even though they almost got romantic in season 2. They never messed around, but they just look at each other like they have this sexual tension. And Corey mentioned, I think it was at the beginning of at the beginning of episode 1 for this season, that, he was trying to make Brandy his future wife. So, I don't know if we're going to see more of Brandy and Corey, because the way Corey was like, do you want me to be your second chair? But he was saying it jokingly. He was asking Jax, does she want him to work on this new case with him? And she was like, no, I don't need you. But of course they were joking. But he was like, nah, my heart is in Chicago. And he was like, my love and my career and my love basically is in Chicago. So I think he's going to move back to Chicago, and I don't know how much we're going to see of him in season 3, but I think we're going to see him a little bit more, because I'm telling you, there is some sexual tension there, and I don't know how we're going to see it, but we're going to see it. And so I actually lied and said that the beginning of the show was them in the courtroom. Well, it wasn't a courtroom. It was literally just like an office. But it was Jax and Lewis and the baby mama in the room. But that was not the beginning. So the actual beginning was Jax finding, I believe it was her daughter, passed out in her room. And in season 2, her daughter kept saying, well, I think it was season 1 and 2. No, it was season 2. Her daughter kept saying that nobody pays attention to her. And she just felt like nobody cared about her. So I'm wondering what's going to happen to the daughter this season. Now, in the preview that they showed after the last episode, she found out that her dad was having a baby with Tony. And Tony is actually her best friend's mom. Lewis wasn't going to tell his kids about his new baby until the baby was born, but the baby ended up being premature, and then it ended up dying. So I guess he felt like he didn't have to tell them that anymore. But she found a little baby jersey in her house, and it used to be at her best friend's house. So she put 2 and 2 together, and so they're gonna have to talk to her about that. And I don't know what else is gonna happen to have her build up to whatever happened to her being passed out. I'm going to say that she's going to have a suicide attempt, but I'm not exactly sure. We'll see. But yeah, that's how this show started. They was like, they showed that clip of Jax freaking out to finding her daughter passed out, and then they was like 6 months earlier, and then it took us to her and Lewis being in the room with Tony. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen to Naima. That's the daughter's name, but I think she's gonna be really going through something this season. And then this last episode ended with Jack's father showing up at her doorstep, and Jack's father is like this drug addict. So I don't know if he's clean now and he wants a relationship with Jax, or I don't know what he wants, but that is how the episode ended. In season 1, I believe it is, or it might have been at the beginning. It was season 1. We found out that Jax had a very her stepfather tried to sexually abuse her. And so she's had daddy issues for quite some time. And her real dad, who showed up at her doorstep, abandoned her because he was a drug addict. So we'll get some more into that storyline. I can't wait till Thursday. When you guys see this, it will be Wednesday. So we'll only have one day to find out what's going to happen next. So with that being said, thank you for listening. If you love Reasonable Doubt, tell me about it in the comments. Make sure you listen to this episode if you're a fan of the show, and come back next week, because I will be back with the next episode talking about what happened on Thursday. Follow me on Instagram at Kintertainment Pod. You can follow me on Facebook at Kintertainment. The podcast is available to watch and be listened to on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. So I'll see you guys next week. And yeah, I can't wait to talk about the next episode with you guys. Bye.